Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Callahan Fusco Audio Network. Today, I'm joined once again by my father and the managing partner of Callahan Fusco LLC, Christopher G Fusco. We're going to be going over the Montgomery Supreme Court decision. Now, before we get into that topic, I just want to point something out. I said Nixon 5, and I was right.
You were right.
I was actually right. I just watched that clip yesterday on the last episode too, because I was like, I think I said that.
All right, not going to change?
Not going to change. Also, Nixon 5. And I did say that, so you're all welcome.
Well, I think everybody on LinkedIn, they saw that we were actually at the Knicks game, and maybe not everybody's a Knicks fan, but thanks for all the kind comments. We had a great time.
Yep.
Being there with Antonio and your sister.
It was a lot of fun. So, what was the main issue before the Supreme Court decision on this topic that we're talking about?
So this was supposed to be the original podcast that we were going to do, but then two things happened. One, New York reformed its total auto claims, and so we got into that, and then we had to go to see the Knicks in Texas, so that was a whole nother thing. But
that's right.
This was a big topic in our industry that we were taking the position, the industry was taking the position that due to federal deregulation laws, that certain state law claims, tort claims, would be preempted under federal law and would not apply to freight brokers, freight forwarders, and state court actions. This was brought to a head in the Montgomery case, where there was a recent decision on the case. The industry took the position that state law claims for freight forwarders, for freight brokers, such as negligent retention of a transportation company, was preempted under federal law. That was not successful. So the ruling that the industry got, what we're seeking, did not come to pass. So what the Supreme Court said is, candidly, these state law claims can be brought against freight forwarders and brokers for negligent retention of a bad company, so to speak. It's not preempted under federal law. So there was some disappointment in the industry that it came out the way it did. So while a lot of people were hoping for preemption, that's not the way it came out.
Got it. So is the carrier vetting of trucking companies more important than ever, or is it kind of the same before this decision?
Yeah, there's a couple of really key elements now that the landscape is after Montgomery. Vetting by freight forwarders, by brokers of trucking industries that they give freight to get to a location for is critical. So just remember, the broker is not the driver or not the trucking company. The broker is the company that makes arrangements for load A to go to load B. So that's what they do. They need to have some sort of tangible vetting process where they can point out, hey, we looked at this trucking company, they had a good safety record, they have good safety standards, they abide by federal law, they have all the requisites of a good company to do business with. That is now critical in cases.
So has the risk for insurance companies changed?
Yes.
How bad?
Definitely changed, because remember, the goal was that there could be no state law tort claims against freight forwarders, freight brokers for tort claims. That's out the window. So now there can be, and now freight forwarders and brokers can be targets of plaintiff's counsel in these types of cases where an accident occurs and they were the company that brought in the trucking company. So yes.
So is there any silver lining in this decision that's happened in the court?
I think there was a lot of hope that this was going to go the industry's way, and it didn't 9-0. But so this is not. It wasn't what everybody was hoping.
Such unanimous.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing you need to focus on is Justice Kavanaugh in his concurrence, not a dissent. His concurrence says nothing here basically changes the equation if you do your due diligence, if you've vetted, if you've taken care of all the things you need to do to as a freight forwarder to make sure that, yes, we check them out. Yes, they have a good background check. Yes, they don't have a lot of accidents. That should still insulate you from state law claims. Now, again, that's not what everybody was hoping for, but that is basically in this industry a roadmap for your best defenses. So make sure that you are vetting. Make sure you're talking to counsel on cases, especially when you know there's been an accident, to have your documents together. Make sure you're reaching out to transportation firms to have your ducks in a row on these things, because there's going to be more lawsuits.
So when you say more lawsuits, is it going to affect what party is it going to affect the most, do you think?
like I said, freight forwarders and freight brokers are going to be the target of a lot of cases now where there's accidents and there's a freight broker, freight loader, forwarder involved. So remember, those are the people that make the deals. So if someone goes to them, say, I have these packages that need to get to LA and they're coming from New Jersey, they get the companies involved to get the loads over there. So there was a hope that they were going to be insulated from these types of actions, and now they're not.
Got it. Well, that's a shorter episode than shorter, but very knowledgeable.
Not on it, but there's definitely, got to think it through. You got to make sure that you're vetting. You got to make sure that you're putting everyone through their paces, and you have your paperwork.
That's true. All right. Well, very short episode, but we'll be back once again as usual. But I got a question for you, one more, because the only thing that we talk about other than law on this podcast is basketball. What was your favorite moment from the playoffs?
Yeah, I gotta say it's the OG tip-in.
I think it's mine too.
It's probably all Nick can answer. It's just because you saw that Brunson didn't make the shot, but if you go back and look at it slow, you can see that was the play. He was going to take the shot as fast as he could, and OG was going in there. By the way, Cat was right there too.
Oh yeah,
Cat was right there too. So you remember, that game was awful.
Awful. We were so mad for 3 quarters. We were so mad,
and
we were the happiest fan base on the planet. I mean, it was a pretty crazy experience. I mean, the more that I talk to people about it, I have to go back and rewatch all the games because I was so stressed, and then I have to go back and rewatch them. I'm like, it's crazy. But that's all we got for this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another one. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our social medias. And if you're on Spotify, we appreciate you listening on Spotify. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.